Ladies and gentlemen, at 85 years old, people often expect you to slow down, rely on others, and fade quietly into the background. But let me tell you something. They couldn't be more wrong. I live alone. I cook own meals. I clean my own home. And I wake up every single day with more energy, purpose, and strength than many people half my age. You might wonder how. What's the secret? The truth is, it's not about magic. It's about momentum. It's about how you begin your day. Over the years, I've built 5 powerful morning habits that have become the foundation of my health, energy, and independence. These aren't just routines. They're lifelines, and today I want to share them with you. Because age is just a number. But discipline, mindset, and action, that's where real youth lives. Before we begin, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any video. Number 1. I wake up with purpose, not just an alarm. That single decision, made every morning before the sun rises, has shaped the life I live today at 85 years old. You see, most people let their alarm clocks drag them out of bed. They wake up already tired, already overwhelmed, already dreading the day ahead. But I refuse to live like that. My feet don't touch the floor until my mind is anchored in something bigger than routine. I wake up for a reason. And that reason changes everything. When you live alone, it's easy to believe that there's no real urgency to get up. No one's waiting on you. There's no boss calling, no kids crying, no spouse asking for breakfast. You can convince yourself that your presence doesn't really matter. That's a dangerous lie. Purpose isn't about who's around you. It's about what's inside you. It's about choosing to believe that your life still counts, even when no one's knocking on your door. So every morning, before I open my eyes fully, I ask myself a simple but powerful question: why am I waking up today? Sometimes the answer is simple: to tend to my little garden, to cook something nourishing, to take a long walk in the fresh air. Other days, it's deeper: to call someone who might be feeling alone, to write down a memory for my grandchildren, to prove to myself that age can't stop me from living a full life. Purpose doesn't have to be loud or grand. It just has to be true. When you wake up with a reason, your day doesn't just begin. It ignites. Purpose gives my morning meaning, and meaning gives me momentum. While most people groan and reach for their phones, I smile and take a deep breath. That breath is my signal to the world I'm here. I'm still in the fight. I still have something to give. And the beauty is, this stage brings. When you start your day with that mindset, everything else falls into place. You don't hit snooze on your life when you know your time matters. People often ask me how I stay motivated at this age. They assume it must be hard. But honestly, it's not. Because when you live for something, when you wake up on purpose, not just on schedule, motivation isn't something you look for. It's something you carry. It's already in you when your day begins. And that spark makes all the difference. It lifts you up when your body feels heavy. It pushes you forward when the world feels quiet. It reminds you that even if you live alone, you are never without direction. I also think waking up with purpose keeps me young, not just physically, but spiritually. When you have something to look forward to, something that fuels your spirit, you stop aging in your heart. You stop seeing days as something to get through and start seeing them as opportunities to embrace. And when your heart stays young, your body follows. This habit has carried me through loss, through illness, through quiet winters and uncertain mornings. Purpose is not just a way to live longer. It's a way to live better. And the beautiful thing is, anyone can do it. You don't need money. You don't need perfect health. You just need to believe that your life is still worth waking up for. So no, I don't wake up to an alarm. I wake up to a calling. A quiet voice inside me that says, "You're still here. You still matter. Let's make today count." And that voice is louder than any clock could ever be. Number 2, I start my day with movement, not excuses. That single choice, made every morning, is one of the biggest reasons I'm still thriving at 85. I've seen too many people my age, and younger, wake up and immediately let pain, laziness, or fear take over. They say, "I'm too tired," or "it's too cold," or "maybe tomorrow." But I've learned something over the years: the longer you wait to move, the harder it becomes. Excuses might feel comfortable in the moment, but they steal your strength, one day at a time. The truth is, movement doesn't have to mean running marathons or lifting heavy weights. For me, it starts small and simple. I swing my legs over the bed and stretch gently. I rotate my joints, loosen up my back, take a few deep breaths, and begin. I might walk around my home, do light yoga, step outside for fresh air, or just sway to music in my living room. It doesn't matter what I do. It matters that I do it. Because motion is life. The minute you stop moving, you start slowing down in ways that go far beyond the body. I know what it's like to wake up stiff. I know what it's like to feel pain in your joints, or to be tempted to stay in bed a little longer. But here's what I've discovered. The pain doesn't get better by doing nothing. In fact, it gets worse. Movement, on the other hand, wakes up the body and the mind. It tells your blood to start flowing, your lungs to breathe deeper, your muscles to prepare, and your spirit to rise. It reminds every part of you that you're still alive, still capable, still strong. Some mornings I feel sluggish. Some mornings my body whispers, "Take it easy today." And I listen, but I still move. Even on the hard days, I don't give myself the option of staying still. Because I know that if I make an excuse once, I'll make it again tomorrow. And before long, those excuses become habits. Habits become limitations. And limitations become the walls that keep you from living a full life. I don't want that. Not at 85, not ever. People often underestimate the power of light movement. They think if they're not sweating or pushing themselves to exhaustion, it doesn't count. But that's not true. Movement is about consistency, not intensity. 10 minutes of gentle stretching or walking every day can do more for your longevity than an hour at the gym once a week. It's about telling your body, "I care about you. I'm not giving up on you." And in return, your body starts working with you, not against you. What surprises people the most is how much better I feel after just a few minutes of moving. My mood shifts. My energy lifts. I feel clearer, lighter, more connected. And that shift sets the tone for the entire day. When you start your morning in motion, you're not just moving your body. You're moving your mindset. You're saying, "I am in control. I choose progress. I choose life." And that's what it comes down to. A choice. Every day you either choose to move or you choose to make excuses. One of those choices leads to strength, clarity, and independence. The other leads to weakness, regret, and decline. I've made my choice. I choose movement. Not just because I want to live longer, but because I want to live better. So at 85, I don't wait for motivation. I don't wait for my body to feel perfect. I move first and trust that everything else will catch up. That's not just a habit. That's my daily promise to myself. Number 3, I feed my body like it's the only one I've got, because it is. At 85, there's no illusion left about second chances when it comes to health. This body, with all its scars, wrinkles, and signs of wear, is the only home I've ever had. I don't get to trade it in. I don't get to hit reset. So I treat it with the respect it deserves. I fuel it with intention. I don't eat just to fill my stomach. I eat to nourish my future. That hasn't always been the case. Like many people, I once thought youth gave me a free pass. I ate whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. Fast food, late night snacks, skipping meals, sugary drinks. I did it all. And for a while, it didn't seem to matter. But time catches up. By the time I hit my 60s, I realized I was either going to feed disease or feed strength. And I chose strength. These days, my first act of care in the morning is drinking a tall glass of water. Simple, right? But so many people neglect the basics. That glass reminds me that my body needs replenishing before it needs caffeine, noise, or stress. Water wakes up my cells, cleanses my system, and prepares me for the day. Then I make a breakfast that doesn't come out of a box or a microwave. I keep it whole, clean, and colorful. Oats with nuts and berries, a boiled egg, a banana, sometimes a smoothie packed with greens and seeds. Nothing fancy, just real food. I don't follow diets. Diets come and go. What I follow is awareness. I listen to how my body responds to certain foods. I've learned that processed meals, sugary snacks, and fried foods make me sluggish, foggy, and irritable. On the other hand, whole foods give me energy, clarity, and stability. So I make my choices accordingly. Not out of fear, but out of respect. My body has carried me through 85 years. It deserves to be treated well. People often ask how I have the energy to live alone, to cook, clean, walk, and even dance a little in the evenings. My answer is simple. I give my body what it needs to thrive, not just survive. I don't treat food as comfort or entertainment. I treat it as fuel. That mindset shift changed everything. Because once you stop using food to numb yourself, you start using it to empower yourself. And here's the thing, you don't have to be perfect. I'm not. I still enjoy a piece of dark chocolate now and then. I still indulge on special occasions. But those moments are treats, not habits. The foundation of my diet is built on what supports me, not what sabotages me. And that's what makes all the difference. It breaks my heart to see people my age struggling with energy, mood swings, and chronic pain, much of which is worsened by what they put on their plates. We think aging has to be full of suffering, but often it's just the result of years of poor fuel. You wouldn't put cheap gas in a vintage car and expect it to run smoothly, would you? Then why treat your body that way? I've come to believe that food is either a slow poison or slow medicine. Every bite is a vote for the kind of life you want to live. I've chosen vitality, I've chosen clarity, I've chosen independence. And those choices begin in the kitchen, not the pharmacy. So yes, I feed my body like it's the only one I've got, because it is. And even at 85, it's still serving me well. Not because of luck, but because I finally decided to serve it well in return. Number 4, I spend time in silence before I let the world in. It's a ritual I never skip, no matter how the rest of the day looks. At 85 years old, I've come to realize something that most people miss in the rush of daily life. Silence is not the absence of sound. It's the presence of self. And if you don't meet yourself first thing in the morning, the world will gladly pull you in 100 different directions before you've even had a chance to take a full breath. When I wake up, I don't reach for the phone. I don't turn on the TV. I don't check the news. The first part of my day belongs to me and me alone. I sit in a chair by the window, or sometimes I stay in bed for a few extra minutes. I close my eyes, I breathe, I listen, not to the noise outside, but to the stillness within. There's a sacred kind of peace that lives in the early hours, and I treat it like a treasure. It's in that quiet that I remember who I am before the world tells me who I'm supposed to be. Sometimes I pray. Sometimes I simply listen to the sound of my own breath. Sometimes I sit in complete stillness and let my thoughts rise and fall like waves. There's no pressure, no agenda. It's not about productivity. It's about presence. This silence is not empty. It's full of clarity, calm, and connection. It's where I center myself so that whatever happens later, chaos, joy, stress, uncertainty, I'm not thrown off course. People today are addicted to noise. They wake up and immediately flood their minds with other people's opinions, problems, and distractions. Notifications, emails, updates, headlines, it never ends. And then they wonder why they feel anxious, angry, or overwhelmed before breakfast. But you can't start your day grounded if you never actually touch the ground. Silence is that ground for me. It's where I return to myself every single morning. This practice has become even more important as I've aged. Living alone, silence is something I experience often. But this kind of silence is different. It's intentional. It's chosen. It's the difference between being alone and being with yourself. Because that's what silence really offers, a relationship with your inner world. And the better you know yourself, the less the world can shake you. Some mornings, I use the silence to reflect on my life. The years gone by, the people I've loved, the lessons I've learned. Other days, I use it to simply say, thank you. For breath, for another sunrise, for the chance to try again. Gratitude flows more freely in silence. And in that gratitude I find strength. This quiet time also helps me set the tone for the day. I ask myself, what kind of energy do I want to carry today? Who do I want to be when I step out into the world? Without that pause, it's too easy to react instead of respond, to let the outside world dictate your mood, your thoughts, your actions. But when I begin in silence, I enter the day from a place of intention, not reaction. At 85, I don't have time to waste on chaos. I choose peace and I protect it like the precious gift it is. That protection begins in those first few minutes of quiet, before the phone rings, before the world rushes in with its noise and needs. I claim those moments for myself, because they remind me of what truly matters. So yes, I spend time in silence before I let the world in. Because if I don't anchor myself in stillness, I drift through the day disconnected and scattered. But when I begin in silence, I walk into the world with calm in my chest and clarity in my steps. And that, at any age, is a powerful way to live. Number 5, I talk to myself like someone I love. That may sound strange to some people, even unnecessary. But for me, it's one of the most powerful habits I've ever developed. At 85 years old, I've learned that how you speak to yourself determines how you carry yourself, how you face challenges, and how you heal from the wounds life leaves behind. Self-talk isn't just internal chatter. It's the foundation of your relationship with yourself. And if you don't learn to speak to yourself with kindness, compassion, and respect, you'll spend your life searching for those things and places that can't give them to you. There was a time in my life when my inner voice was anything but kind. I was my own worst critic, always pointing out my flaws, always reminding myself of what I didn't do, should have done, or failed to become. I would look in the mirror and see only imperfections. I'd make a mistake and repeat it to myself for weeks, as if self-punishment could fix it. And worst of all, I would compare myself to others, people who looked younger, moved faster, lived with more noise and praise around them. That voice inside me, it wasn't a friend, it was a bully. And that constant inner battle drained me far more than age or illness ever could. But something changed when I realized I was spending more time with myself than with anyone else. At this stage of life, especially living alone, the most consistent company I have is my own voice. So I asked myself a question that shifted everything. If I wouldn't say it to someone I love, why would I say it to myself? That question stopped me cold. I thought about how I talk to my grandchildren, how I comfort friends, how I encourage strangers even. I would never call them names. I would never mock their bodies or dismiss their efforts. I would never tell them they're too old, too late, or not enough. So why was I doing it to myself? From that moment on, I made a quiet promise to myself. I would start speaking to myself the way I would speak to someone I deeply love. I would offer grace. I would cheer myself on. I would forgive my own missteps. And slowly, I noticed a shift, not just in how I felt, but in how I moved through the world. Now when I look in the mirror, I don't just see an old face. I see a survivor. I see someone who has made it through heartbreak, through loss, through mistakes, and still wakes up every morning with a heart willing to try again. I tell myself, you're doing well. You're still here. You've got this. And you'd be surprised how far a few kind words go, especially when they come from within. On the hard days, when my body aches or loneliness creeps in, I don't scold myself for feeling weak. I comfort myself. I remind myself that it's okay to rest, okay to feel, okay to ask for help. That isn't weakness. That's wisdom. Talking to yourself with love doesn't mean pretending everything's fine. It means being honest and gentle at the same time. It means being a safe place for your own heart. People think confidence comes from achievements or approval. But I've found that real confidence comes from the voice inside you that says, you are worthy, even when no one's watching. You are strong, even when you feel shaky. You are enough, just as you are. And that voice isn't automatic. You have to build it, feed it, and protect it from the noise outside. Even now, after all these years, I still talk to myself with love every single day. Before I face the world, I speak life into my spirit. I say, you're still growing. You're still learning. You're still shining. And I believe it. Because I've seen how much better life becomes when your own mind becomes your ally. So yes, I talk to myself like someone I love. Because I am someone I love. And when you treat yourself that way, your world changes. Even if nothing around you does. You stand taller. You heal faster. You live deeper. And at 85, that's the kind of power I hold on to. Not from the outside, but from within. I'm 85. I live alone. But I am not lonely. I am not weak. I am not finished. These 5 habits aren't just how I stay healthy. They're how I stay young. And if you think it's too late for you to start, let me tell you something. I didn't start all these habits at 25 or 45. Some of them came to me in my 70s. What matters is not when you start, but that you start. So tomorrow morning, before you scroll your phone or complain about your aches, remember this old woman's words. You are one sunrise away from a brand new life. Treat your mornings like they matter, because they do. And if I can do it at 85, so can you.